Your Minnesota Vikings have a lot of very difficult decisions this offseason when it comes to veteran players who have really racked up and stacked up this franchise over the last couple of years. Notably, on the defensive side of the ball, you have Eric Kendricks, who came in as a second-round pick in 2015, and Harrison Smith, who's been a stalwart to this defense. That's coming in as a first-round pick in 2012. He was the only first-round pick of the Vikings in 2012. Yeah, we don't talk about the past, but the Vikings do have a couple of major decisions to when it comes to Kendricks and Harrison this offseason. And GM Kwesi adofo-mensah, he didn't draft him, he didn't extend him, so he has no emotional ties to him. So it could be some tough decisions. And NFL.com's analytics expert Cynthia Frelund went through and restructure or release, and they did some really good write-ups about both situations. So Harrison Smith. So first off, we need to talk. So pay cuts are often called restructures. It's not true. Basically, does the player make less money? If so, that's a pay cut. If they make the same amount of money, but it just affects how the team's salary cap structure is set up, that's a restructure. So not all pay cuts are restructures. Not all restructures are pay cuts. That whole thing. Because it's very easy to get the two confused this time of year. Whatever. But Harrison, $19.1 million cap number, 11.7 dead. That's one of the reasons why he's probably not going to be moved on from, but the Vikings are around $24 million in the hole as of right now. Certain contracts are essentially designed to be revisited, and Smith's pact certainly appears to fall into that category, with a massive increase in the cap hit, $7.4 million last year, $19.1 million this year, and a base salary going up. You get it. It's part of the caponomics game. Because having just turned 34, Smith is still a productive safety, as evidenced by his 5 interceptions and 10 passes defended in 14 games this season. That said, next-gen stats had him allowing 5.8 receptions over expected as the nearest defender in coverage last season, which was the second worst mark in the league. On the whole, Minnesota's secondary struggled mightily. Whatever. Restructuring Smith's contract could free up more dough for the Vikings to address the serious issues at the corner position, even if it's just adding better depth. And Harrison, like I said, coverage has never been Harrison's forte. That's the dirty little secret. Yes, he is a ball hawk. Yes, he gets interceptions, but man-to-man coverage was never Harrison's thing, right? And he did turn 34 on Groundhog's Day, 5 interceptions, 76 tackles. But the thing that really pissed me off is that what Zimmer did well with Harrison is that he let Harrison work down in the box, basically as an extra defender, blitzing, getting sacks, and just being something that has to be in the back of the quarterback's mind. Donatell did not do that. Donatell did not allow Harrison Smith to be Harrison Smith. He only had 2 pressures and 0 goose egg D'Angelo Russell sacks last season in Donatell's scheme. And with Flores loves blitzing non-traditional personnel. He loves blitzing safeties and slot corners and everything. So I do think that Harrison needs to stay a Viking. I think the fact that his dead cap number is so high really does necessitate that the Vikings would likely, again, not pay cut, restructure, bring down that cap number, maybe even tack on an extra year on the back end of that deal to smooth out some of the cap numbers. But Harrison is still productive, right? And I think that under Flores, like, he will be back being Harrison again. I still think that he's a top 10 safety. I think that the best part of his game, which is blitzing as of right now, has been underutilized. And I think Flores will certainly bring that back to the forefront. And then you get to Kendricks. So Kendricks has been one of my favorite players. I love how he's just a team first guy. He's quiet and he just, shows up, does the work. But last year, wasn't great. It wasn't great last year with the new scheme. First year away from his guy, Anthony Barr. And this contract is a lot more palatable. So $11.43 million cap number, only $1.9 million dead. So he is a cut candidate for sure. Kendricks has one season left on a 5-year, $50 million contract, but the Vikings can save $9.5 million by releasing him. Although he's been a stalwart in Minnesota since joining the Vikings as a second-round pick in 2015, Kendricks' play has fallen off as of late, particularly in pass defense. Last season, Kendricks earned a 46.4 coverage grade from PFF, 11th lowest mark among linebackers. With Flores joining the team as this new defensive coordinator, and the entire side of the ball will be under review. Remember, Minnesota ranked 28th in scoring defense and 31st in total D in 2022, so you'd expect a fair amount of turnover, pun intended. Kendricks appears destined for a restructure or outright release. And again, they say, Cynthia says restructure. I don't see a restructure here. Like, I don't see, reducing his base salary down into a roster bonus as a traditional restructure and then taking on dead money in future years. Now, and also, he's in the last year of his deal, so you can't even do a traditional restructure. So I think this is a pay cut where skin it down to the bone, $3-4 million with some incentives, or it's a cut situation. And Kendricks turns 31 at the end of the month. He's a leap year kid. It's awesome, man. And he didn't feel the same in the new scheme because there was a big difference between a 4-3 middle linebacker and a 3-4 middle linebacker. And he had his lowest PFF coverage grade since his rookie season, 16 missed tackles, 107.2 quarterback rating when thrown at. And Flores' scheme emphasizes speed at the off-ball linebacker position. And Kendricks, over the last couple of years, has noticeably lost a step. And it sort of is what it is. I do not see Kendricks back. I just really don't. I think the Vikings will release him. I think they'll take the cap savings and move on. But with Harrison, like I said, I think they'll work something out. I think they will restructure. Again, not a pay cut, a restructure. And I think Harrison could actually have a career renaissance in Flores' defense because they'll actually accentuate his strengths versus just sort of like, oh, here, 22, play coverage. Great. But your thoughts are thoughts. The Vikings have some big decisions with Kendricks and Harrison this offseason. Take a look at what Cynthia Frelund, NFL.com said. What are your thoughts on our thoughts and their thoughts in the comment section below? Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.